You are listening to KC Sports Network, the #1 podcast network for today's Kansas City sports fans. With former players from your favorite teams, informed perspectives, and former insiders, this is the place for you. KC Sports Network is proudly presented by Emprise Bank, your partner in possible.
All right, folks, what's good? We are back. Another episode, A No Seats podcast. We had to hop on here Sunday morning following the Saturday absolute pumping of Oklahoma State. The Kansas football Jayhawks are officially bowl eligible, boys. Sounds absolutely insane to say out loud. AB's got a bowl in his hand. You love to see it. I was hoping for a bowling ball, but a bowl will do fine. Boys, I can't believe the Hawks did it. Lance Leipold, absolutely insane. AB, you texted 2 years ago we were 0-9. And now we're bowling, and we still have – we could rack up a few more wins if we play well these final few weeks. So we're going bowling. B-Turn, I'll start with you. How do you feel? What did you think of yesterday's performance, and what do you – I don't know. Just give me your thoughts.
Yeah, it obviously feels amazing. They started 5-0, and you start to get worried. They lose 3 in a row, and obviously it creeps in the back of your mind that they could lose out. No game on the schedule is going to be easy in the Big 12. You had Oklahoma State coming to town ranked. Luckily, Spencer Sanders didn't play. But, yeah, you just said it. Program was winless 2 years ago. Les Miles handed it over to Lance. Winless season. Lance doesn't even get a full off season. We saw it. We started to believe the program was turning at the end of last year when they were competing. They beat Texas, and they hung in all those games we've talked about previously. But it takes over a winless program. They're competing last year, and then this year they start 5-0. They get game day in Lawrence. They're a top 20 program. They're 6-3 going bowling with 3 games to go. I think they can win this weekend. But, yeah, yesterday, Rye, me and you talked about it in the parking lot before the game. We want to see this team put a complete game together and start quick. Start fast. Every game it feels like they're trailing. Obviously, Duke, they came out, they were winning that game, but wanted to come out fast, not let get a freshman quarterbacks. Don't keep him in the game. Start fast, bury them, which we come out 7-0, and then we get to the 1 yard line. We only end up getting 3. So they made it a 10-7 game, and then Bean broke off a 73-yard run, which I saw last night was the longest run by a KU quarterback in KU history, and it was unreal. He took off, and we've known about his feet for a long time, but I haven't been this happy for a KU football player in a long time. I'm so happy for the guy. He was nearly flawless yesterday. He obviously got some criticism the last few weeks. He's turned the ball over a couple times in big spots, but he's also made a lot of big plays. TCU, we talked about that game plenty. A lot of people think we could have won if JD played, but I thought Bean was great in that game, and we had a chance to win. So he deserves a lot of credit. You saw him crying after the game, showing a ton of emotion. I'm just super happy for him, and he's a big reason we're going bowling.
Yeah. So, AB, we just talked about Bean, and it's funny because you're seeing, I don't think people are really taking credit away from us for the Oklahoma State win, but there's a lot of talk, and us included, is talking about how their backup quarterback was absolutely horrible. And I don't even want to know how bad Gunnar Gundy must be if they opted to play this kid over him. But, you can't say anything like that, right? We're playing our backup quarterback, and he's still – we put up 37, and really we left so many points on the board. And I want to talk a little more about that. I know it was 37-16. That game could have been 54-16. We were ultra conservative at times in the red zone. So I don't know, AB, I feel like you are very well in the Twitterverse where people will say Banana Land things, take credit away from us. Do you feel like that's been done, and is it fair or not? I think regardless, we would have competed with Oklahoma State in that game. It's not like it was a close game. We absolutely pumped them.
Yeah, we demolished them. And one thing before that, you guys kind of hinted at it. We're very lucky that Jason Bean's our backup quarterback. When you look around other teams like Oklahoma, for example, they looked like a D2 team without whatever their quarterback, Gabriel. And this Oklahoma State kid, he's a true freshman making his first start, but you could tell that he wasn't really ready, regardless of what his final numbers said. Those 2 picks early, he just wasn't there. But yeah, it's great. I haven't seen a whole lot of shit on Twitter from people. I don't know if it's because I haven't really been looking for it, but also the teams that talk shit on us all the time both lost yesterday in hilarious fashion, I might add. Check out that Mizzou finish if you guys haven't seen it. But yeah, it's what can those people really say at this point? Like, we're never going to talk shit after a loss. So let's just, good for them and move on. But yeah, I said it yesterday. We have the same record as K-State. So enjoy it, boys.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I tweeted yesterday. It's like this team put themselves in a great spot to go bowling. So you can't really talk shit. You start 5-0, you have 7 cracks at it to go bowling. So they put themselves in a great spot. And like you said, I think we would have won yesterday no matter what. I'm not saying Oklahoma State's their offense obviously would have been in way better hands with Spencer Sanders, a senior compared to a freshman, but KU rushed for 350 yards. Devin Neal, 32 carries, 224 yards, which we'll obviously get into Devin Neal, but I don't know. I don't think they would have beat us regardless. Maybe I'm wrong, but they rushed for 350 yards. Oklahoma State just looked deflated. They're obviously being murdered with injury right now. Like offensive line, they had a bunch of guys go down yesterday. So I think KU would have won regardless, but you put yourself in a 5-0 spot. I think you can't really say much. So I don't know if you guys agree with that, but team started 5-0 and they were it was 2.5 over under was 2.5 before the year. So you can't really say anything at that point.
Yeah. It's crazy that we don't even have to sweat it out. These final 3 games, we're there. We've got it. Anything on top is just extra. Like you get to the end of this year and we go 6-6. Yeah, it'll suck to lose the last 3, but a day after the season, we're going to be like, wow, that was awesome. And we're going to a bowl game. Like whatever happens over these next 3 games is want to win, but it's not the end of the world if we don't. They're going to be tough games. We're going to be dogs in all of them. And we'll see what happens. But you brought up Devin Neal, and we got to talk about it because it's one of the cooler stories. That dude, and I was listening to Lance's press conference, and they asked him about Devin Neal, and he's like, Devin Neal committed to the University of Kansas. He did not commit to a coaching staff. He did not commit to a head coach. He did not commit to an offensive coordinator. That dude just wanted to be a Jayhawk. He wanted to be a part of the rebuild, the changing of the program, and to see him have a legitimately historically good performance. Like first guy to ever have, what was it, over 200 rushing yards and 100 passing yards, or was it simply just 100 rushing yards and 100 passing yards?
Yeah, I've seen multiple. AB, I'm sure you might have a better idea, but I've seen multiple tweets. I've seen first player with 200 rushing, first with 100 receiving, and then basically what I just said, 100 rushing, 100 receiving. So
either way, I mean, historically good performance, and to see the hometown kid that could have easily, I mean, he was a part or
4-star.
He could have gotten plenty of other offers elsewhere. Could have gone to better schools, could have gone to schools that were already competing for bowl games, and he just wasn't interested. He was all in on staying here for the rebuild, didn't care who became head coach. I think it speaks to Lance. I think Lance obviously had to be impressionable and like prove to Devin that he was going to be the guy, and clearly he did that. But like to see us make the bowl game the way we did with him playing like that, it just felt kind of like a movie script. It was perfect. He deserves it. And it's incredible. I mean, the dude was unstoppable. Like we could have not passed the ball at all yesterday, and I think we still win that game. They just could not stop Devin Neal, and it was so fun to watch.
Yeah, I can't imagine how he's feeling today. 38 touches, 32 carries. He caught 6 passes, 224 rushing yards, 110 receiving, and he had a touchdown, and it could have been more. I mean, think about it. We had the ball on the 1, I think 2 different times. We had the ball on the 1 when it was 7-0, and we ran it out of pistol like 3 times with him up the middle. And then we got it to the 1 again, and we kicked the field goal both times. But, yeah, he was unbelievable. Obviously, it's 24-7 at half. We get the ball coming out. Oklahoma State obviously keyed on the run. We had over 200 rushing yards at halftime, and they kind of bottled him up early in the second half, but he still started breaking runs. He caught, which we got to talk about. The 2 shovel passes were beautiful. Calls by Kodal Nicky. They were perfect. I think both of them they were huge gains on both shovel passes. So Devin Neal was unbelievable. 38 touches, could have had like 2 or 3 touchdowns, and just loves Kansas. Like you said, and I hate saying this, it pisses me off, but there's been multiple Lawrence kids commit to K-State. Like he could have went he was a 4-star, pretty highly regarded recruit. Like you said, he could have went anywhere. We've seen Lawrence kids go to Kansas State, our rivals. So he could have went anywhere. It's amazing. He loves Kansas so much and couldn't be more happy for the guy.
So now we got to talk moving forward. The rest of the season, Lance said, hey, we'll enjoy this for a day, and then we got to get focused. Now, I think the big question comes, like my biggest question going forward is Brent McMurphy tweeted before the game yesterday, got us all a little excited, saying like, hey, it's possible Jalen could play. He didn't. We didn't need him. Bean was phenomenal, like you said. Now we've got 3 games left on the schedule. To me, Jalen's got to be close to healthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was in full pads yesterday. He got to be really close to being back. What do you – I mean, if Jalen's ready to go next week, is he getting a start?
I feel like you have to, and it's weird. I mean, Bean just got the win. He's looked solid the last few weeks, but obviously the team goes 5-0 with JD as the quarterback. Technically, we didn't lose a game that he finished. I know we lost to TCU. We were down at half, but dude was a Heisman candidate. Personally, I just think his football IQ is better. He makes better decisions. He doesn't turn it over and take crazy risks. I love Bean so much, but do you guys remember the play yesterday where he flushed the pocket left and literally did a 360 spin and threw it to the left sideline? And luckily there was a receiver over there, or it would have been grounding. And luckily there was no defender there, and it would have been picked. Bean was he was flawless pretty much. I mean, 18 of 23, 2 touchdowns, 93 on the ground. But I feel like you have to go with JD if he's 100%. I don't know if you guys agree with that. I know Bean's a year older, so maybe he deserves it. He just got to win. Maybe you start him. If he struggles, you pull him. It's on the road. He hasn't won a road game yet. So
I was going to ask, and this might be like something we never really considered, but is there any chance that we just roll with Bean the rest of the year, since that's what we've been doing, and try and apply for a medical red shirt for Jalen and get like an extra year on top of it? I think he only played one. It might have just been the half against TCU that we usually qualify for it. But I was thinking about that yesterday. It's like, I mean, at this point, all we've been asking for since we got to 5 wins was get to 6. Once we lost 3 in a row, we're like, just get one more, get to 6, get a bowl game. You get the extra month of practice. You get, obviously the fans get juiced for a bowl game.
Okay.
If it's an opportunity, I mean, we've got that now. Like, is there really a difference between finishing 6th in the Big 12 and going and playing in like the First Responders Bowl, and finishing 4th in the Big 12 and playing in like the Liberty Bowl or something? Like, that's kind of what the rest of the season is.
But what if I go Brandon McAnderson on you right now and I say, what if we win out? What if Jalen comes back and we win at Tech? That's very doable. Like, let's be honest, we could beat Tech.
But if we beat Tech, say Jalen isn't healthy enough to play against Tech, and we beat Tech with Bean, then we're like, okay, well, why would we switch it up when we've won back-to-back conference games?
I'm saying, like, what if we roll Jalen out? Or, like, I'm saying in a scenario against your scenario. I don't know what I want to do, but against your scenario, we just said, let's just try and win as many football games as we can this year. We think Jalen's the best chance for that. Let's start him against Texas Tech. We beat Texas Tech. Let's say Baylor loses to K-State. Right? They play next week, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So then you'll win a home game against Texas. Not likely, but doable. You never know. Texas is not perfect. Like, they've had some stinkers of games this year. So it's in like, what if you rattle off those 2, things go your way, and all of a sudden, am I wrong that if those things were to happen and we go into Manhattan the final week, if we win, don't we have a shot at going to the Big 12 title game?
Big 12 title game, there actually is a chance.
Like, that's what I'm saying. And I don't know. Like, it's a very, very hard thing to do. But to me, it's like, how many times are we going to have this opportunity to say, if we win out, we have a really good shot, not a really good, but a pretty solid shot at playing in the Big 12 title game. So why, if we think Jalen's the best quarterback on the roster, why would you not go throw him out there? I don't know. It's just kind of another way of looking at it.
It's like TCU Texas play this weekend. TCU wins that. That's three conference losses for Texas. K-State Baylor play, which I think we're gonna need Baylor to lose 2 more. Obviously, we're probably not gonna win out, but Baylor has 2 Big 12 losses. We have 3. They beat us, so technically, I think they would need to lose 2 more. They play K-State this weekend, so but they could lose.
We really need to know you to.
Baylor could lose all 3 the rest of the way.
Like, they've
got K-State at home on Saturday. They host TCU the following week, and then they go to Texas the last week of the year.
Wow.
So I think they're going to be favored against K-State. They might be favored against TCU. But none of those games you'd be surprised if they lost.
What would we be saying right now if we ended up beating TCU at home?
God, man, I was thinking about that in the shower a little bit ago. Like, we were one dump off pass away from having a chance to go for 2 for the win. And then the season, we're still ranked. We're 7-2. You're 5-2 in conference, 4-2 in conference, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, think about the standings.
We'd be in the Big 12 title game right now, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, TCU would have 1 loss, we'd have 2. We'd be in second place in the Big 12.
Yeah.
And 1 game behind TCU, who's I feel like TCU might be a dog this weekend in Austin.
Oh, absolutely.
College game day. Texas looked really good yesterday. Obviously, Bijan, I don't even want to know what he's going to do to our rushing defense. But him and those 2 games to end the year scare me. But, yeah, not to be the ref guy, but if we kind of got a obvious call on the last play of the game, I think we would have had a chance to beat TCU, and we'd be all in on Big 12 championship talks because I think we'd be all in on beating Tech this weekend, which we should be already, and then you'd have maybe to win one of the last 2. But I don't know. It's crazy thinking about the TCU game. We'd be 1 game behind them, and we'd have the tiebreaker over them with a win.
Yeah, that's just like the one thing that I said at the beginning that anything on top of this is great. But then I'm like, wait, how many times are we going to have this kind of clustered of a Big 12 for that second spot in the title game? To me, it's like, God, would we be insane to not throw Jalen out there if we think he's our best shot at winning?
And I don't think that's going to happen either, because you saw it last year with the staff. They just put Jalen in and burned his red shirt the last few weeks of the year just to build the chemistry and everything, which I think was very good to start the year for us.
It was.
Just got the rust out of the way and ready to go game 1. But yeah, it came to mind. I didn't know if you guys had any thoughts on it, but it's not a for sure that we could get a medical red shirt. We wouldn't find out until after the season anyway. So I doubt they risk it, but it's worth asking. Some lines have come out if you guys want them. Not for KU yet, but Texas is 6.5 minus, and Baylor's a 3-point favorite against K-State.
What's ours?
Not out yet.
Okay. I was asking people yesterday what they thought it would be. I kind of guessed Tech -3, which that's going to be an interesting game. I think we should do a preview of Tech this week, but their quarterback obviously got hurt. There was a picture of him leaving the game with a boot on his left leg.
We got to get to that, man.
AB, what was that face?
Well, it's fucking insane. Every week TCU breaks another quarterback's leg or shoulder. It's so annoying to me. Like, I'm not taking anything away from them.
That's
They're
like
9-0,
5 or 6 quarterbacks.
God, dude, it's 4 out of 6 in Big 12. I don't even know what happened in non-con.
Well, they hurt Adrian. They hurt
Jalen.
Will Howard, too. They hurt both quarterbacks in that game, which Will Howard came back, but he was out. That could have costed K-State the game. Jalen.
They hurt Rubley's feelings.
Dylan Gabriel, and then obviously Tech's starter yesterday. But, yeah, he left in a boot in his left leg. Their backup came in, was 9 of 22 throwing it, which is not good. So if we get him in Lubbock, not sure what the spread will be, but I'm all in on winning, obviously. This team hasn't got blown out yet. They've been losing by 4 scores at some points, which I guess we talked about beating TCU. We could have freaking beat Baylor if we weren't down 28-3 at half. But yeah, this team, they haven't got blown out. So we win this game 7-3 back at the booth against Texas, who that offense is crazy. I don't feel great about that matchup at all. They're going to go up tempo quick like Oklahoma did against us, but I still feel like we can compete in any game with this staff. So if we're 7-3 coming back to the booth against Texas,
and people forget, I mean, we own Texas, folks.
Simply own them straight up.
Like, people do forget that. That has to account for the line, the handicapping of that game. We simply, things change in the universe when Kansas plays Texas. Like, things don't go normally. So,
do you guys think we're ranked if we beat Tech?
Yeah.
I mean, who was telling me yesterday we should be ranked tomorrow or today?
That's not going to happen. But there are so many teams ahead of us that also won. Like, Notre Dame will hop in and be ranked.
But then I saw, like, didn't Oregon State lose? Illinois? I mean, Illinois will probably stay ranked, but why is Illinois ranked at 7? Or are they 6-3 now?
No, they're 7-2.
Oh shit! Never mind. Okay.
Yeah. There were a lot of teams that were already ahead of us that also won. So, like, I don't know if us beating a backup quarterback as a favorite will do much, but I don't know. I mean, K-State took a giant leap when they blew out the same Oklahoma State team. So,
Yeah.
That's what's annoying.
Did you guys happen to see my tweet about 30 minutes ago before the pod started?
Haven't been on Twitter yet today.
CBS Bowl projections came out this morning. They got KU Mizzou in the Liberty Bowl in Memphis, which
drivable.
Mizzou's at 4 wins right now, so it doesn't sound great. They got Tennessee this weekend, but then they got New Mexico State, which they'll win. Then they got a rivalry against Arkansas and Columbia. So they could get to 6 wins. I don't know. Some fans would probably be scared to play Mizzou. I don't know why. I'm all in on playing them and Brady Cook and just pumping.
Did you guys see how that game ended yesterday? That Mizzou game?
No, I saw the roughing the punter call.
That's what it was. So, like,
that was the end of the game?
Yeah, dude. So Kentucky was punting on 4th down with like a minute and a half to go, 2 minutes to go, whatever it was. And I think Mizzou had a timeout left. The long snapper snaps it 30 yards over the punter's head. If Mizzou recovers it, it's their ball to go in and win from like the 5-yard line. The punter somehow picks it up, takes a 1-step pivot and just kicks it. And the Mizzou dude chasing him just lit him up, and they called roughing the kicker. Gave him a first down, and they were able to take knees in the game.
They snapped it over his head, and the dude was just chasing it down.
Yeah.
And the punter
I feel like
there was some questionable.
Punter has to be
out of the question.
They said that because he was still in the pocket, it wasn't roughing the kicker, but there were some rules that were released on Twitter that made it look skeptical, but it was funny nonetheless.
I wanna talk bowl game projections with you guys. Like where you guys would want to go, which cities would be awesome, which cities would kind of stink.
Los Angeles, California for the national championship game.
Yeah. We were
playoff pictures wide open, baby.
A few of us were texting about this last night, and it was funny. I think it was Juice was like, yeah, I think my favorite one would be New Orleans. And it was like, well, that's the Sugar Bowl. So
Big 12 championship. You win that. Aren't you in?
Yeah. I mean, New Orleans would be a blast, obviously. You think back
Orlando.
to the Final Four. But all right. So I've got the list of all the Big 12 partners. We've got December 22nd, Fort Worth, Texas, the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. I would prefer a post-Christmas bowl game, but whatever. Serve Pro First Responder Bowl, December 27th in Dallas, Texas. Wouldn't hate Dallas. Guaranteed Rate Bowl, December 22nd. That's the one that's kind of been on our radar like all year, I feel like. We've talked about that one. Phoenix, Arizona. I don't hate the idea of going to Phoenix December 27th. This one, the one we've already mentioned, AutoZone Liberty Bowl in Memphis, Tennessee. I've heard Memphis bowl games. This is from my K-State friends. Heard Memphis bowl games are very fun. I think Memphis is a fun city. December 28th, that could be fun. If it's against Missouri, that's incredible. The Tax Act Texas Bowl, December 28th, Houston, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
That's the K-State special right there.
Yeah. The Cheez-It Bowl always gets a lot of attention in Orlando, Florida.
No,
I'm at my home in Orlando, Florida.
What do you got? I mean, what's your take on that one?
I mean, would Orlando not be fun as hell?
It just seems like the most difficult travel and
the
most,
for sure.
Biggest. I don't know. Like, I just picture Memphis. You get there, you get a hotel close, you just walk around bars, you just have yourself a day. Orlando, I picture and I have no idea about any of these.
You're staying at Epcot, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Texas would be
30-minute Ubers everywhere. I don't know.
Anywhere in Texas would be ideal just for a huge KU crowd. Obviously, there's a ton of KU fans in Texas. It's drivable. There's a ton of bowls, obviously, they're connected to the Big 12. So Texas would be fun, whether it's Houston or Dallas or Fort Worth. But, I mean, that would be a ton of KU fans in Texas.
Yeah, and I think more people would drive. Like, driving is in play if you're in Texas. I don't think – what's the drive to Phoenix? I don't think people would drive Phoenix.
That's about a full day. It's a long-ass drive.
It was like 14, but it might be more, sounds like.
I think it's 16.
I know it's like 9 to get to Denver from here.
22, says Jed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yikes. Okay.
I don't think people are making that
obviously,
one for a
we'll have
scrimmage.
less of a turnout if it's Phoenix, Dallas, like you said. B-turn Dallas or Fort Worth would be absolutely bananas with the alumni down there, and just how easily accessible it is for everyone to get there. Direct flights, just it would be awesome to do Dallas. Orlando would be funny just to be in Orlando in late December watching KU football, but give me Orange Bowl vibes, even though that was Miami, but still, little Florida bowl game action. But yeah, I think I don't know. I'm probably in between. Memphis is kind of like tempting me. I'm kind of into the Memphis idea. Would that require a for sure flight? What's that drive?
No, that's like 7 or 8 hours. It's not bad at all.
See, I had a K-State fan tweet me yesterday and say, if you guys go to that bowl, do not go. Making it seem like it sucked.
Well,
I
here's
don't know.
the thing.
Maybe
Like,
my friends
and we
just had fun on their own and it wasn't good, but I don't know.
I know people that have had fun in Memphis too. It's it's a good city, but like the K-State fans all of them are saying that because they go to a bowl game every year, and that's what annoyed me when some people said like, "Oh, great, you get to play in a stupid bowl game on December 22nd." Now, like when you guys make the NCAA basketball tournament, you're excited. We really don't give a fuck because it happens every year. So just let us enjoy it. So I think that's where that guy was coming from. That Memphis sucks dick. But they got barbecue. They've got quick drive. They got
good city.
Yeah, it's a great city.
Yeah.
And that's Memphis to KC is 7 or 8. Yeah, that's not bad at all. We could all make the trip together, do a live show out in Memphis.
Record for all 7 or 8 hours in the car.
Not to bring up Memphis fans or basketball here, but Memphis fans would be very triggered just seeing a bunch of Kansas fans walk around that city. So that could be
wear our 08 gear.
Yeah.
Can I
don't
say
know.
This about
I think
bowl
I'm
games?
in between. I think I'm in between Dallas, Phoenix, and Memphis. Those are my top 3. So
Phoenix isn't drivable, but it would still be freaking awesome. I would definitely get a flight to Phoenix.
I think I brought this up a little while ago, like a month and a half ago. Fly to Vegas a couple days before. Have a wild time for like a night or two. Rent a car from Vegas. It's like a 4-hour drive to Phoenix.
I love
and
that.
And then fly out of Phoenix on the way back.
That would be damaging to the body, to the wallet. That would be a wild week.
What if it helped the wallet? What if you went off in Vegas?
The problem is, AB,
you can't do that in Memphis.
No, you said head to Vegas. You said head to Vegas a few days before. That's literally Christmas Day.
That's fine. Fly out Christmas night. Flights will be cheap after all the shit. Everyone's done with Christmas at like 6 o'clock anyways. So finish your Christmas. Get out of town. You're in Vegas at 7 o'clock Christmas. Oh my God. Imagine the blackjack table on Christmas Day at 7 p.m. Vegas time.
Stop.
It's a depressing table, I'd imagine.
Well, okay. I wanted to say this, though. I don't really care too much where the bowl game is. I just want to play a team that we don't usually get to play or won't usually get to play going forward. Yeah. Because there were some that had us playing like UCF. Like, fuck that. We're going to play them every other year coming up starting next year. Like, I don't want that. I want to play like Mississippi State. Mizzou would be cool, even though we have that coming up with them. But Mizzou's like in a different, like it would be cool to play them. But like some low tier SEC, mid tier SEC school, ACC, something like that you're not going to see them on the schedule more than once every like 30 years.
I saw someone mention Iowa in the bowl game in Phoenix, which would be a weird, wild matchup.
I would love that so much.
Oh, me and James were talking about that on the way home last night. Like, how would we play against their Kotelnicki versus that defense would be interesting because he would have to get creative. He'd have to reach deep into his bag, and we'd see some wild plays.
Our defense would look good, though.
Yeah, but we just could not do what we did yesterday, where it's just a bunch of runs up the middle that turn into 30 yards. But that would be fun. It would be interesting. It'd be boring, but
it'd be a fascinating matchup.
Another thing people are talking about is just Lance getting a whole extra month to prepare, and then you get a whole month of practice. Obviously, more practice for the guys is great.
And I thought this too. It kind of helps like the coaching search thing to me because like, let's say we went 5-7 and Nebraska comes calling you at the end of November. Well, now, and I don't know, I know coaches a lot of times leave before a bowl game, but like to me, I just cannot see Lance leaving before we play in this bowl game if he were to want to take a job offer. So, like, does the extra month of the season make it so Wisconsin or Nebraska or whoever else comes after Lance is like impatient and says, we just got to we got to go get someone. We can't risk waiting. I don't know. That hit my head the other day.
I think both of those schools, especially Nebraska, are in like a hurry to get a guy signed and like for recruiting purposes.
Like, I think
isn't there a signing day in December?
Yeah.
It's like they're going to want to get a guy in like seriously the Sunday after the season ends. I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter yesterday or not yesterday. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. But there were a lot of like light rumors floating around that Nebraska was announcing Matt Rule like that day. So I think maybe hopefully those are somewhat true and there's some steam to him going there. He's not doing anything else other than basking in a buyout right now, which is pretty cool. But I just think they're going to want to hire someone immediately. So if I would think yours is probably true, it certainly doesn't hurt us that he's got other things going on with KU for the next 6 weeks after the season ends. But also
and Lance it would be savage of Lance to just be like, all right, lost K-State, and now I got a job offer from Wisconsin. We'll see. Well, I just can't see Lance doing that.
I feel like those like talks have died down a little bit. Is it just because we lost a couple of games? But like,
I think we were the biggest story in college football, and now we've just kind of swept back under the radar. But this will certainly get things going again. I
think he told.
But I don't know.
He told all the schools he's staying at Kansas forever. So
that's the rumor.
Do not
lock him up.
Blocked all their phone numbers.
Lock him up forever. We're going bowling, boys.
Yeah, and like,
who do you think you are? I am.
And I don't want to get into a ton of like talk about. I don't want to talk about a ton of next season, but like, we could be
really good,
really, really good next year. Like I'm saying, shouldn't we start preseason top 20 next year?
I think so.
Depends on how the year ends. If we lose 4 in a row and we're 6 and 7, then it's like, okay. But yeah, if we're 8 and 5, win one of these next 3 and then the bowl game, like I would think that's
JD, Neal.
Yeah.
I mean, all those big names that the national media has started to kind of embrace and learn about, they're all back. Lance is back. We assume hopefully Kotelnicki doesn't get a head coaching job. Like, we could be – it's wild to think that we could head into next year preseason top 20 and just with full expectations of another bowl game. Like, that's what we wanted. Get us 6 wins a year, 7 wins a year, and we will be happy for a long, long time.
And just think what just going bowling could do for the transfer portal.
Yeah. And
just the expectations for next year. If you got a ranked team and you got a guy that's looking to transfer maybe from a mid-major like a Lonnie Phelps – come into a team that's going to go bowling, get you some exposure. Obviously, going bowling is huge for the portal and even bigger for recruiting. Like this team was winless. You've heard recruits over the last year or so say they see things changing and they're already going bowling. Like, what could this team be in a couple of years? Bundy thinks we're going to make the playoff in 2 years, but it's just, it's insane. I think we could be – I'm just trying to think of the key names that we lose. I think Kenny Logan, Earl Bostic, but we just got that 5-star from Wisconsin to replace Bostic, which is crazy. We haven't even talked about that guy. He was a top 20 recruit in the country. But, I think obviously we got to fix – I think we need to fix the rush defense in the offseason, so maybe we can get some D linemen or linebackers in the portal. And we did really well in the portal last year. I feel like we could do even better this offseason.
We did well in the portal last year, and all we had to show was like, hey, we beat Texas and we competed really hard the final 3 games of the year. Like, that's the progress those guys had to see. Now, these guys in the portal see us on College Game Day. They see us on ESPN getting our own segments. Like, they see how much buzz is in Lawrence. Like, I think there's going to be guys, whether it's like you said, a mid-major like Lonnie Phelps, or guys like this Wisconsin kid that we're at big schools, maybe not getting the minutes they want. We're still not like loaded with talent at every position. There's still opportunities where a guy that's playing at a big time program may say, man, I'm not going to get the minutes I want, but I can go play at Kansas, which is all of a sudden on the way up, and I could start and be a part of something special there. Like, I think we are going to feast in the transfer portal this year. And I think it's going to be like, I don't even know what to expect, but I'm sure we will be saying some outrageous things next year before the season when we have Brandon McAnderson to preview the pod, and he's got us going 12-0. It's going to be fun.
I mean,
it's just yeah.
AB just talked about winning 8 games, which is so they can easily do that. I think they're going to beat Tech this weekend and then maybe win a bowl game. So 7 wins at worst. Why can't they win? I'm not even saying 9 in the regular season, but maybe 9 total games next year. I think that should be the expectation. Listen to the roster right now. You got Lawrence Arnold and Skinner, sophomores. Grimm's a junior. Jalen Daniels is a junior, which we talked about the red shirt. Who knows? Devin Neal, sophomore. Kai Thomas is a sophomore. Savion Morrison is a sophomore. Lonnie Phelps will be back. Craig Young will be back. Kobe Bryant, OJ Burrows, Mello Dotson. Marvin Grant's a junior. Kalen Gervin's a junior. Like, you're losing like 3 starters. You're losing Fairchild. You're losing Bostic. You're losing Sam Burt. And you're losing, I think, Caleb Sampson and then Kenny Logan.
Yeah.
We're going to be really damn good next year.
We're going to be really good.
What's our non-con next year?
Oh, Braiden, I got it pulled up right now.
Wow.
Love when the boys are prepared.
We got the Missouri State. What are they? The Bears? Grizzlies? Something.
Win.
That's a W. Big one. College game day. Come to Lawrence Saturday, September 9th. When the number 19 Jayhawks take on the number 17 Illinois Fighting Illini in Lawrence.
Play them?
Yeah.
Win.
September 16th, the boys travel out west to go to Reno, Nevada, and play the Nevada
Wolfpack.
They're terrible, right?
They're like historically bad this year.
Illinois. Yeah. So win.
Missouri State's not bad, are they?
We got Burt coming to KU for Illinois. But then conference-wise, like next year we get the rotation where we have 5 home games and 4. Wait, when does UCF and all them come in?
Aren't they here next year?
Shit, yes. This conference schedule's probably fucked. But
yeah.
So who knows without? But yeah, our non-con, Missouri State, Illinois, at Nevada. Colin Kaepernick coming back to play for them.
It sucks Illinois is good, but that's still kind of fun because it's a home game, so we should win that game. But
Bill Self Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of smoke. Well, I guess a few months or a month ago.
I love how I started
KU, Illinois bowl game.
I love how I started this segment with, I don't want to talk too much next year, and here we are going through the whole
schedule, wins and losses.
Oh, man. All
next
right, well.
Year's baby, Big 12 champs.
How much, I just wanted to, before we end it, I just wanted to talk about how much fun it's been at the booth this year. We've only lost 1 game, which was against a team that's going to be, I would say, in the top 4 when the next playoff rankings come out. We had them. It was tied with 4 minutes left. It was game day in town. We had 3 straight sellouts. Yesterday was not terrible turnout. I was nervous about it. There had to have been 40K plus, right? Easily.
Yeah.
It was
student
like
section
43.5, I think is what JK tweeted out.
Okay. Yeah. And then so we were 43K yesterday. Student section was close to the top. It's been so fun at the booth this year. We killed Tennessee Tech, beat Duke, beat Iowa State, beat Oklahoma State. Like, we were really good at the booth. We still got 1 more against Texas, who we just talked about. We own them. So hopefully we come back to the booth 7-3 and have fun one more time at the booth this year. And then we're going to have so much expectations going into next year.
One stat I wanted to share before we wrap this up. Iowa State and Oklahoma State beat us a combined 114-10 last
50
year.
plus.
And we just beat them.
Both.
It's that's what's so like exciting to think about is what Lance has done in such a little amount of time. He's got us to where we would have said year 4 Lance, we're happy with. Obviously we'd have been happy with the bowl, but if you just said, yeah, we win 3 this year, we win 5 next year, and then in year 4 or 5.
Yeah, where are we going to be at 5 years from now?
I know. That's what's crazy to think about. If he stays around with the way the Big 12's changing, OU and Texas are out, like, I don't know. It seems like it could be a perfect scenario for Lance and his staff to just become a top 5 Big 12 team. Like, I don't know. Maybe insane. But, like, you look at who's coming and who's leaving, the top of the Big 12's up for grabs, boys. It's up for grabs.
Grabs. This year, we still have an outside chance to make the Big 12 title game this year. I think I just talked about it, but if you win that TCU game, like you were in the convo for Big 12 title game this year. I don't see why they couldn't be in future years. So yeah, Lance, just looking forward is super exciting.
One more thing. Mm-hmm. Is Lance a lock for National Coach of the Year?
Nope.
Because Bielema. Mm-hmm. But why?
And also Josh Heupel might be up there with Tennessee.
Well, Heupel and then Sonny Dykes, but
yeah,
it just
So does he even win Big 12?
Yeah, that's.
No, I think it has to be Lance. It's what he's done. That stat I just shared right there wins him the award in my opinion.
But if TCU goes out and what if they just went out and go to the playoff? They were 5-7 last year.
Are we going to factor in the bounty?
They're going to lose
quarterbacks. Like, come on.
They're going to lose this weekend.
Well, apparently we played softies for the first half of our schedule. So
none of these wins count.
Nope, we're 1-3, boys.
Especially when
it's the COVID year again. You have a shortened season.
What I was gonna say earlier when you said, "Oh, congrats, you get to play in a shitty bowl." How many games would K-State fans have projected us win before the year? And if your answer is more than one, you're wrong. I guarantee they would have said we beat Tennessee Tech and that's it, 1-11. But now we're 6-3 and we haven't played anyone or beat anyone. We're not supposed to win these games.
There were some fun tweets to go back and look at last night, boys. All right, let's wrap the show up. I'm happy. Hawks are bowling. Lance is the best coach in the country. Should win National Coach of the Year. Can't wait to start just arguing with absolutely. I won't care what stats are presented to me. I will argue that Lance is Coach of the Year. And I will go down fighting that war. So the Hawks are 6-3, and they have a shot to make a Big 12 title game, which is absolutely bananas to say out loud. But if we don't, obviously we probably won't. Let's keep riding the wave. Let's keep getting wins. We'll see what happens at the quarterback position. We've got a fun rest of the year, and we can start figuring out travel plans come December. So that's all we got. Thank you all for listening. Hopefully back this week for a Tech preview, but we'll see. So
twice this
that's
week.
It. Yep. And Rock Chalk.
Chiefs 41-17.